Hey, everybody, welcome to Shining Lights, our new show where we talk to people and organizations that are making a difference in their community. I'm Ben Barber, and that is Jacqueline Smith. Hey, Jackie.
Hey.
I just realized that my name has like my business on it from other stuff that I've done, and I'm going to take that off because it seems a little pretentious right now, and I don't want to do that. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm so sorry. So our goal, and this will be a weekly show. So we'll probably take off Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Yeah, yes, thank you. It's going to be a difficult show for me because everyone involved has producer controls, and that never happens. And I'm scared. I trust our guest with producer controls. I don't trust my co-host.
That doesn't seem fair.
And I have good reason not to trust you. We're just not in sync with anything. Yesterday, we tried to make a video for Christchurch, Jackie's church and employer, both. And so we tried to make a fun office parody video of it. And we tried to do a simple thing that if you actually look at the thing, which I'm not going to play because it has copyrighted music in it, but if you look at the actual video, this is for 1 second worth of film. This is for 1 second worth of video. And it took us over 5 minutes. Here's a clip. 3, 2.
We need to do that again. Done. Okay. No, we need to start again. This has to be the last time. Okay, no, I'm laughing. Why are you pausing? I just need you to get your hand there earlier.
Should I be stopping at the screen?
Oh. How can we not coordinate on time? And then you can just cut it. I love you guys.
One of those will work.
No, none of them work.
That was painful to watch. Yeah. All right, well, that's our show, folks.
Why are you in our history show?
What?
There's a whole folder. Oh, I'm in the history show.
You should not be trying to do stuff. I got it. I do this every day. I got it. Okay, move it. As you can see, we're from that video. We're not exactly on the same page. But that's okay because our goal with this show is to highlight people and organizations that are doing a tremendous amount of good for their communities. And I couldn't think of anyone better than my good friend of nearly 15 years, Sarah Magni. Sarah she was an actress, is an actress. I don't know how she would describe herself. She is a fearless leader and a wonderful, compassionate, and outspoken woman who is making the difference in the lives of so many people in her hometown of Toronto or near Toronto. I'm not Canadian, so I'm going to get that wrong. And she has created a program called That's Showbiz that is just truly remarkable. And I would love to explain it to you myself, but I would not do it justice. So let's bring on Sarah Magni, the artistic director of That's Showbiz.
Hello. I'm always shocked at how you pronounce my last name perfectly. Like nobody does it. And every time, but you do it every time, but every time I'm surprised because you're like the only one.
If Dave were on the show, he would also pronounce it correctly. So Sarah, you and I met. Obviously, you started That Showbiz, but long before that, you had aspirations of I don't know, being an actor on Broadway. I would assume. I assume that's why we were all there, right? At the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York, and so that is where we met. Can you tell us what your journey was to get to That Showbiz?
Wow. Yeah, that's always the question. And you think by now I would have the perfect answer. Yeah, so I was living in New York City and I started coming home in the summers because the New York City summers are rough. There's no air conditioning in your apartment. It's really, really hot there. And I started teaching theater at a program in the summers in the city of Vaughan, which is like just outside of Toronto. So Toronto's, for Americans, it's Toronto. But if you're here in Ontario and you're from Toronto, they'll say you're from Vaughan. You're not from Toronto. So it's a whole thing. But it's very close to Toronto. So just outside Toronto where I grew up. And then that program was closing down. And I was like, well, where are all these young people going to go? And so I started a program just for the summers immediately after that. And it kind of started to expand and grow and turn into a place where I was like, I want to make theater with people who aren't used to being told that they could make theater. I mean, probably because I have my own relationship with that and my own people telling me that I'm not good enough for this and not good enough for that. And I was like, this is not the point of theater, I don't think. I don't think the point of theater is only 3 people can be on stage and tell a story and it's the same 3 kinds of people. And I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. I think theater is supposed to be a mirror that reflects the world around us. So my program focuses mainly on youth and adults who are underrepresented on the stage and just underrepresented in theater education in general, and being able to tell their stories and kind of flip that narrative and reclaim those narratives for themselves. I work a lot with youth and adults with intellectual disabilities specifically. And those folks, if their stories end up on stage, they usually end up being told by able-bodied neurotypical folks. And that's not fair. And that's a real act of violence and a real disservice to the show and to storytelling and all of that. So I don't know if that was anything that you asked. I don't remember, but there you have it. That's me in an interview.
Yeah, that was super great. And so I don't have the same theater background that everyone that I'm friends with has, which I don't know why. But it's always the first thing to get cut for funding, because a lot of people don't see the significance of it. And I'm really interested in, mental health and, positive image. Is there something that you could share that can, kind of explain why, theater and the arts are so important for other things besides like history and math and STEM?
Yeah. I once had a mentor tell me that the one thing that makes humans quite unique and different from like animals is that we're storytellers. That's our thing. We tell stories. Whenever we're in conversation with each other, we're telling stories. And we need the validation of our stories. We need the validation of our narratives. We need to tell our stories. It's so crucial to tell your story and to see yourself represented on stage. And I've had so many incidences where I'm working with young people who were like, I didn't realize there was a space for me to tell my stories and connect with other people that have similar lived experiences. And I mean, now more than ever, it's like we all are like in some sort of isolation. And this is all that we're craving right now, and whatever that looks like for whoever. And being able to continue to tell our stories and to feel heard and listened to, it's huge. It's huge. It was huge for me. And I see how transformative it is for people every day.
Yeah. So like Jackie was saying about the funding, right? So obviously you guys are a nonprofit. Where does most of your funding come from? Is it is it through grants? Is it just through how do you fundraise for this sort of nonprofit in Canada?
It's tough. We have gotten a few grants in the past. A lot of it is just like donor support helps a lot. So we've gotten grants, we've gotten some donations, and it's a constant chasing of money is what, but that's every nonprofit. So anything new or exciting information for anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if it was, so many things are different. Just a couple miles to the north. I was just wondering if there was any difference in arts funding.
I think we do have more funding. We do have more opportunities to get grants, I feel, from what I've understood from knowing people that work in nonprofit and in theater and arts in the States, that there's a lot more in grants and stuff like that available. Still not enough, but yeah.
So what is happening right now? Obviously, for the last 6 months, the world has been dealing with this insanity of the pandemic. And I know that you guys had to cancel your shows, and then you didn't cancel them. You moved them online. And I know that you have some programs coming up. So what does COVID look like for your organization?
It's been really, really interesting. I was really scared. We closed down at the beginning, when everybody closed down. And back in those days, remember those days, 7 months ago, feels like 70 years ago when we first shut down. And they were like, it's going to be 2 weeks. I don't know who said that. That didn't make any sense at all. And why we believe them, I'm not sure. But we're like, I was like, yeah, so it's 2 weeks. I'll just like hang out. And that was fun for 2 weeks. And then I was like, this is not 2 weeks. Good try. And I was like, before this, I need to do stuff or else this company is this organization is not going to make it. We're not like able to sit around. Like we don't have the funds to just sit around and hang out. So I was like, well, I guess I got to go online, which for me, as Ben knows very well, I don't work well on the technology. So I had to like learn all of that and make a pretty big investment in doing that work. Yeah.
At the beginning of the pandemic, Jackie is a parish administrator, like I said, for a church here in Westerly, and we both had two very similar ministries. She helped an entire church of a congregation of 500, mostly elderly people, learn how to get online and use the internet. And my service was to just help you, Sarah. And through my conversations with Jackie, it seemed like I had the more difficult task.
Yep. I believe it. I really believe it. But no, I learned, and I found that it was something that I needed to learn because I work a lot with people with disabilities, and they have always been at the front of movements being like, we can work from home and we can do things because we need to. That is an access need. And a lot of those needs weren't being met, and a lot of organizations and companies were ignoring that. And now people with disabilities are like, hello, we've been telling you this. It would have been such an easier transition for you had you not learned that things can be done online. And so it was something that, I needed to learn as well. And transfer to. And then we met a lot of access needs. A lot of people with social anxiety and stuff like that who weren't able to do theater before were in the comforts of their own home and feeling more safe to do so. And we were able to reach a lot of people we weren't able to reach, who weren't able to even come to our location even before the pandemic. I worked with day programs where their whole thing is that they get together every day and they work as a community, and they were just feeling so lost and so isolated as it was, and we were able to continue doing and creating and telling our stories and being a community together online. And it's been really, really cool. And I've been able to like think of like interesting ways to do things and pre-recording voices and overlaying them on top of us performing. And so, yeah, virtual theater is so interesting.
Was there a specific time in these last 7 months that you realized that you were in the right place at the right time, and you made a difference for someone specific? And I feel like we all have a lot of those moments in the last few months.
Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of those moments. A couple of things I guess come to mind. I was able to there's an Indigenous elder named Duke Redbird here who is a very famous literary, he's a poet, he's an activist, a writer, a speaker, all these wonderful things. And I've gone to hear him speak many, many times. And I'm like, oh, I would love to work with Duke Redbird. I'd love to bring him in. He writes this poem, I Am Canadian, that I look at all the time with all my classes. And then I was hired to like do something, and they're like, do something to like, celebrate Canada and all of this stuff. And I was like, we're going to do Duke Redbird's poem. And you know what? Why don't I send him an email? Because like, he can just like come online from his house. And I was like, maybe he'll join us. And so he was able to do that. And so we were able to do his words and do his work. And he was able to introduce it and able to talk to our students and, teach about the 7 teachings and all this stuff. And that was like super, super cool. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. It's this access need. We're able to just bring people in. We did a project called 3 Plays in 30 Days, which we do in person usually. And the whole concept is pairing up young people who are underrepresented on our stages with professional mentors who have similar lived experiences. So I had a young person on the autism spectrum who was an amazing musician. And I was like, oh, I got to find him a neurodiverse playwright. And I found someone who lives in New Jersey who is this wonderful playwright whose plays have been produced all over the place, who's also on the autism spectrum. And the two of them worked together and they wrote a musical. And it was like super cool. And we were able to perform it online. And that was really, really awesome. So that was a really cool moment. And just the other night we're working on our own plays and we're telling stories and stuff like that. And we're looking at stories with lessons. So I'm looking at a lot of Indigenous stories and stuff like that. And I was like, cool. So let's also, on top of like looking at these stories, like how can we tell a story with a lesson? And the students brought up like the Black Lives Matter movement. And so we're working on a story that looks at relationships and misunderstandings and wanting to be in power. And it's incredible that they're able to sit because we're all sitting here and looking at each other and being like, this is what's going on outside. Like, and we cannot ignore it. And so now we can literally we can funnel it into our work so much clearer almost because we're sitting here and we're looking at it and we're able to be like, let's tell this story. Like, what does Black Lives Matter mean? And how do we tell this story in our own way? And how do we show our support through theater? And it's really, really exciting. So, yeah.
Wow. So how can we, I'm so impressed with you right now.
Oh, God.
It sounds like you're really able to. Yeah.
I just think I'm babbling, so I'm glad it sounds like something coherent. So that's great.
No, it does. It sounds like you're able to pull people together that you wouldn't be able to. And I think that's the strength of a lot of nonprofits is the, creativity that they were able to pivot and do things that were never even thought of before. They were possible, but it wasn't something that we were challenged to think of. Mm-hmm. But so how can people see some of these things? Because I want to see them. I mean, is that a possibility or is it just all, within your organization?
Yeah. Follow us on Facebook. That's the easiest way. That's Showbiz. That's with a Z. And that's where we usually live stream all of our shows. We also have an Instagram too. That's Showbiz with a Z. No space in between for the Instagram. But yeah, that's our it's our Facebook. Yeah.
And so if you go there, you could sign up if you have someone who's interested in participating, I assume.
Yeah. Visit our website and go to our online classes. Yep, there it is. www.thatsshowbiz.com. We have a new program coming up. It's a 6-week musical theater intensive for young people. It's on Tuesday nights. It starts at the end of October. It's 2 hours, 7 to 9. The first hour we work on technique. We do monologue work, scene work and such. And then on the second hour, we work on a virtual performance that we'll put on at the end of the 6 weeks.
I love it. Are there like a limited number of spots for something like that?
I'd like to keep it at 10, but I'm not gonna close it off. If we get more people, I have another staff member. We can probably split up. So I'm not gonna limit it. But in the room, we'll probably in the virtual studio, we'll have probably 10.
And I just want to point out, because I asked you this question the other day online, which is what spurred me to ask you to be on the show tonight. Because this is virtual, anybody could sign up for this course, right?
That is correct. I keep forgetting to write on the thing. It's 7 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. But wherever you are, please feel free to join. And I was saying to Ben that it actually, if you're American, it's a great deal for you because it's in Canadian dollars and your money is worth more. So it's literally costs nothing. So yeah.
Last I checked, Canadian money was worth more if you got to live there, which I wish I did. Take me with you, Sarah. Take me with you.
Listen, no. We will fight over Sarah later. But neither here nor there for this show. Although I'm sure we would all love to get into that conversation. Moving on. What can so when you with the show at the end of the show at the end of that specific program, will that be a public viewing show, or will that be a show for like just the families of the people in it?
It'll be live streamed. That's what we've been doing with everything. So, and it's been working out really well. Yeah, it'll be live streamed likely on our Facebook page. Yeah, and possibly other places if we want, but it'll be on our Facebook page live. Yeah.
Awesome. What is first of all, back up a second to me saying your name correctly, because I realized this while you were talking earlier. I know why I say your name correctly.
Why?
It's because we went to a school where the beginning of every class was you stepping forward and saying, Ben Barber, Westerly, Rhode Island.
Yes.
And then stepping back. Every single class, over and over and over again, you just had to say your name. Like, yes. It was weird. I felt like for the first 3 months of that school, which we paid like $60,000 to go to, the only thing I learned how to do was say my name. So because of that,
you also learned how to say my name. So there you go. It was all worth
I didn't. Dave did. Dave was in your class. And he prides himself on having perfect diction and whatever. So that's the only reason why I know how to say your name. I don't know how to spell your name. I had to double check 5 times on how to spell your name, but I do know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, I always try to teach people by like the GN. I mean, it depends if you know how to pronounce gnocchi, like the pasta. That usually helps people.
I barely know how to pronounce gnocchi.
Yeah, like a lot of people like say gnocchis or whatever they say. That's incorrect. It's nya, like a nya sound. Gnocchi. Magni. But yeah, you got it. So you're good.
Well, thank you. Okay, so I want to take a second to talk about the other. So, like, you obviously a big part of your organization is to tell people stories who are disadvantaged. And my question is, what other organizations what other organizations and what other causes that are sort of in line with your premise? Because I don't know of any other theater that does what you do as far as how, I don't even want to say inclusionary for your theater. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not that, because like that word always makes me uncomfortable.
I've been having this conversation lately about how I do not like the word inclusion, because it means that like there's some group that is already included and now we're kind of letting you in, like,
yes.
And that's not for me. That's not my basis.
I agree completely.
But yeah, that's that you brought that up. Yeah.
So, but these underrepresented stories, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know of anyone else. I've never heard of anyone else that does what you do. So I just want to take a moment to say you're amazing and you're a rock star, and I'm so proud of you. But secondly, what other types of organizations do you know of that support the things that you care about that you'd like to shine a light on?
Wow. There's so many. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like American ones too, like for your audience. um,
Just do your thing.
but in Toronto, there is a wonderful theater company called Rare Theater Company that works with a bunch of different people, basically people who are underrepresented, whose narratives are underrepresented on art and do professional work. It's run by professional playwright Judith Thompson. Big shout out to Obsidian Theater in Toronto, which is like this wonderful Black theater that has been around for over 20 years and that has just been producing the most amazing work by Black folks and supporting the Black community in that way and just collaborating with a bunch of different theater companies and just doing wonderful, wonderful work. And everybody should donate to them, especially right now because all our theaters are closed. They and they're wonderful. I miss the theater so much. So I think about all these wonderful organizations. There's another organization called Be Current that does theater and a lot of anti-oppression work and a lot of like decolonial work. So those are my people. Oh, and the Amy Project, which works with youth, underrepresented youth and like gender nonconforming youth and trans youth, and they do theater. And a lot of this stuff is in Toronto. So this is why I'm outside of Toronto, because I'm trying to spread the wonderful, amazing social justice theater elsewhere. Because this is what happens, right? Everything ends up in big city hubs. And then there's a lot of youth that don't have access to that. So those are a few, but they're all Toronto stuff because but I know there's a lot of great stuff going on in the United States of America as well.
Well, what do you think is going to be the future of theater? And I mean, just it's so much. So like, what are we taking away from this period of time for the future?
So for me, I'm actually getting a master's as well because, I don't have enough to do. So I'm actually basically, my master's has changed about 400 times because of COVID, and I was doing research with live participants. I'm no longer able to do that. So my master's has really started to evolve around like what theater is going to be. And, am I freezing? Oh, here I am. Okay. Freezing for me, and it was weird. So what theater looks like, and I'm starting to get excited about. At first, I was like, theater is dead. That's what happened to me when the first 2 weeks we went into lockdown. I was like, theater is dead, and I thought theater could never die. And now I'm very confused about what I chose to do with my life. It was a whole thing. And then after I got over that crisis, I was like, actually, Sarah, you are incorrect. The theater is where it was always supposed to be. The theater is now in our backyards and on the streets and in our protests. And the theater is online where we can access it for each other. And the theater is about, it's not about perfection and about who gets to look a certain way. And the classic stories that need to be told over and over again for who knows what reason, retire them all. And it's like new creative, wonderful things are happening. And I was like, this is the theater. I was like, this is what it is. It's the theater. There's people on their doorsteps singing and dancing. That's the theater. And I was like, it's exciting. And I hope we don't forget it. And when theaters and spaces open up again, that we fill them up because we realize, wow, this whole time I've been watching theater and using theater to better my life and the life of the people around me. But anyway, welcome to my master's thesis.
I love that so much. That makes me so happy. I'm so glad you're doing all of this.
Last time you and I spoke was also live on a show. I'm so sorry. I'm a terrible friend. But last time you and I spoke, you were like, yeah, absolutely. I can do your show. But at like 7:15, I have to pause because I have to go out on my balcony and lead my entire apartment complex in a cheer for the frontline workers. And then I watched you do it live. You took like pots and pans out there and like you rallied everybody up. Just another thing that goes to show how amazing you are. How are things in Canada right now?
I mean, it's so funny because I just feel like, and I feel like the States has a similar thing going on where there's like two kinds of people. The people that are like, oh, like we need to stay inside and everything is terrible and we just need to kind of adjust to everything being terrible. And then the other people that are like, well, we got to move on and then just to the wind. So it's like, there's people wearing masks, there's people not wearing masks. I'm one of those people that is like, this is a real crisis, and that bothers me. I don't know exactly how to deal with it, but it's a crisis. I need to wear a mask if I step outside, and they need to not, go to the mall, because that's like not what I need to be doing. And, I'm of that school. But then when I walk outside with a mask on and the whole shebang, and I look around me and people are not like that, I feel like the world is gaslighting me. Either the world is gaslighting me or I'm being over dramatic. So that's how I feel about the whole thing but the numbers are real and the numbers are up right now, but testing is also more than we had in the beginning. So that's the other thing. But the numbers are definitely up. There's talk of like a second lockdown, at least in Ontario. There's talks. I don't know if it's going to happen. So so we're here. How's it over there?
Well, I think what I meant earlier was that there's just so much uncertainty. And so I would be willing to go anywhere to have some certainty in anything.
Sure.
It's not fun, having everyone on a different page and just kind of feeling like you're in the middle of stuff and there's no control. So that's what I meant. It wasn't going any different direction, but
I have this. I just have this saved for any time that you come on the show. Just I never know when I'm going to need it.
Yeah, I never know.
I too am in a folder marked Jackie junk, and there's a bunch of junk in here. Like, do you use this for like almost every show?
I don't know. It's the stuff that you've made.
No, it's not
anyway,
all
my
stuff
point
I
is,
made.
my point is that I will be a Canadian citizen if she will have me. The wedding will be done in 2 months. That's hilarious.
That's in my folder.
That's hilarious. Oh, that's
real.
a real thing. I'm so sorry. We live stream weddings sometimes. That's
amazing.
Thing.
So you've been doing weddings too? I think that's incredible.
Yeah, I did a funeral today.
Okay, that's not incredible.
It's great. No, it's the whole shebang from start to bottom. Literally, we haven't done a birth yet. If anybody would like us to live stream a birth.
Oh, what a time. What a time to be alive, everybody.
Oh, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you came. And I just want to let everybody know, once again, you can sign up for this theater intensive. What are the ages? The ages are 13 and 17? 13 to
17, yeah.
13 to 17. Anybody in the 13 to 17-year-old age group, anywhere in America, honestly, if you're watching this for whatever reason, anywhere in Canada, wherever you are, you can sign up for this. Go to thatshowbiz.com or, check them out on Facebook and Instagram and sign up. It begins at the end of October. And it's just a wonderful program and such a unique opportunity to be able to work with such a world-class teacher and world-class person like Sarah. So thank you so much. And I hope that you continue your success and you continue to help people the way that you have, because it's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So nice to meet you.
So nice to meet you. This was great. Hope I didn't talk too much.
No, you're amazing. And I'm so excited. Yes, you made the show. So, support to everyone, support her charity that affects so many people. It's so important right now to be able to do that.
The arts and arts workers.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
So that's my friend Sarah, Jackie. She's incredible.
She is.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you as well to you for being here. And if you guys know of any organizations or people that are shining lights in your community or their communities, and some organizations and people that are really going out there and doing good work for their communities. Please let us know. We would love to spotlight them on this show. We would love to talk to them, find out more about their cause, find out about what people can do to help them. And please share this video. That's the number one thing that you could do to help us help other people get the word out, is to share this video and let people know what we're doing here. So thank you so much. Jackie, is there anything you'd like to say before we go?
I just want to reiterate, now is more important than ever to, support your local charities. There's going to be a lot of things happening, and we just don't want someone to slip, into the cracks and not have help that they need in whatever direction that they need it.
Absolutely. I love this show. I can't wait to be back next week. And so we will see you next week every Thursday at 5 p.m., except for like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's this year. But other than that, we'll see you every week. Thanks, guys. We should try to high five one more time.
Okay.
All right.
Three,
ready?
3, 2, 1.
I didn't do it.